Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport have loaned me this Land Rover Range Rover HSE. It's a little bit different than some of the Range Rover Sports that we have looked at in the past here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. And I'm going to show you some of the features that separate it apart, especially here in the rear cargo area. There's some really interesting features back there that we haven't looked at before. And as of right now, as you can probably see, I have it sitting at its highest ride height. But you can lower that. You can do it from the rear back here. I'll show you where those buttons are, and also from the interior. And I've put all the information on the screen as far as the exterior color and the interior color as well. You do have, of course, a panoramic sunroof. And of course, this front area does slide open. Let's open the hood. We'll take a look at what is under the hood of this particular model. This is the 3-liter 6-cylinder engine. And it's the same engine that we've looked at in the Land Rover Discovery and the Land Rover Defender. It puts out 395 horsepower, 406 foot-pounds of torque, and it's definitely not a weak engine by any means. This is an all-wheel drive model, of course. Of course, you've got the LED lights here on the front. Very nice looking front end on this vehicle. And I must admit that driving it is a lot more fun than just looking at it. But like I said, I want to show you some of the really cool features here in the rear. So let's walk back here and open the rear lift gate, which, by the way, of course, there are multiple ways to do that, including using your remote right here. Pretty much a standard remote, so very easy to use. Now, do you notice the split tailgate right there? So you've got the regular tailgate here, or lift gate, and then the split tailgate down here. And let me just put that back up real quick. In fact, there's a couple of different ways to do that. You can do that right here with this button. Everything's automatic back here. And of course, here's how you lower the suspension. These two buttons right here, you can lower the ride height of the vehicle. If you get back here and realize, oh, I don't think I can get out what I need to, it's too high up for you ladies, or whatever the case may be. And let me just step back so you can see the ride height lowered to its lowest ride height. Looks a lot more racy. And believe me, it is racy. In fact, this model has emergency high-speed braking. That should tell you something right there. And so here on the left-hand side, you have a power outlet. Nice that it even has a ground right there, so you're not really limited to what you can put in there. You also have a power out, or a 12-volt outlet, and you have your folding cover right here. Let me see if I can get this to work properly. I haven't used it that many times, but there we go. You fold it up and out of the way like that. That is, of course, also removable. And you can lower your rear seats with these buttons right here. I'm not going to go through that whole process. I'm just going to kind of show you a little bit of that and then bring them back, because it does take a little bit of time for that to happen. Bring them back into their regular position. And if you hold the button down and it doesn't happen immediately, just like we saw right there, don't worry about it. Not a big deal. It's going to do what you want it to do. And of course, you do have space underneath the floor right here for your full-size spare tire and everything you need for that. There are a few other things here, such as a license plate bracket and different things like that. A lot of goodies that come with this vehicle. That's what all this stuff right here is. And whether you choose to use the button on the remote that I just showed you, or maybe the button right here on the rear liftgate, everything's going to close at the same time. Like I said, already told you earlier in the video, everything is automatic. Of course, you've got the roof spoiler right here that channels wind over the rear window right here to help keep that clean. But in the event that it does get dirty, of course, you do have a rear wiper right there underneath the rear spoiler. And we'll take a quick look here at the inside. You've got some storage pockets right here. Of course, door bins. Very nice piano black trim right here. Everything is in good shape. That's when you hear something like that, I hope you can hear that well on the video. that means that everything is in good shape. And let's see, hopefully you can see that. I just tilted those seats back. You can recline them, not tilt, but recline. And right here, air conditioning controls, dual air conditioning vents. You have a couple of 12-volt power outlets here. Just have a little cover there for them. USB ports, and even though you probably won't be able to see it because I just can't get down to show you the view, you have another power outlet right here underneath this cover. And of course, you have the panoramic sunroof. So quite a few nice amenities back here for your rear seat passengers. And you do have a couple more air conditioning vents. This is actually a tri-zone air conditioning system in this vehicle, because you have dual zone in the front and then you have the single zone in the back. So that is tri-zone. So we'll make sure to say that correctly, because I know people have mentioned that in the past, that it's tri-zone, not dual zone climate control, and that is true. And then of course, you not only have the two air conditioning vents here, you have the two above the rear passengers right here on the roof. So now we'll hop up into the front, and of course here are your controls for the windows back here, not on the door panel right here on the armrest, although you do have lock and unlock. And if you, let's see, I don't know if that'll work right now without the ignition being on. Actually, it will. Hopefully you can see this right here. When you open that, it's going to tell you if this little indicator right here that lights up, it's going to tell you if there is a car coming or if there's a pedestrian or a cyclist or whatever, so you don't literally open the door out into somebody's path and cause some sort of injury. Now let me just step back here and let you take a look at everything. Basically the same thing we've already seen, of course, on the driver's side door. You're going to have a lot more controls, and much like the Mercedes-Benz vehicles we've looked at in the past, the controls for controlling the power seats are right here on the door panel on the driver and passenger side doors. You have seat memory on both. You have 3 different positions or 3 different settings right there if you want to use that. Of course, large door bins. Power steering wheel, it's adjustable, fully adjustable, tilt and telescopically. And right here, of course, is the start button. So essentially what you have here is what really equates to a fairly simple vehicle. Of course, you can push that button right there to automatically bring your mirrors in if you get into a tight parking spot or something like that, or if it's just something in the garage at home. Of course, those go back out. And a lot of safety features. You can see blind spot monitoring right there. I hope you can see that on the screen. I hope it shows up. The little orange dot, maybe you can see it a little bit better on the passenger side. But of course, you've got all of the nice high-end materials here. Very nice dashboard. You've got adaptive cruise control, all the multiple safety features that you would expect here. Very comfortable steering wheel, that's for sure. Shifter paddles if you want to shift your transmission manually. And there are multiple driving modes. In fact, let's take a look at those. And what you're going to see, the way you adjust that is with this dial right here. In fact, you can push that dial down like that and the vehicle will select whatever it needs depending on the situation that you're in. But here are the multiple driving modes, of course. Let me just go over here. Of course, you have dynamic, program, eco. I'm just going to run through these real quick because I think you can see that. Comfort, quite a few different modes to choose from. You have sand. If you go rock climbing, well, you've got that. Quite a few different features here available for your driving situations. And of course, here you have your air conditioning controls. And it's not really that terribly complicated, although if you want to adjust the fan speed, you're going to push that little button right there, or push that portion of the screen, maybe I should say, and you can adjust the fan speed that way. And of course, there are a lot of different features here, different things that you can use, whether it's at the bottom of the screen or the top of the screen. If you want to change where the air is coming from, that's what you're going to do right there, and you're going to select appropriately. And you have heated and cooled seats. That's going to be for your heated seats. I am not going to put that on. It is actually very warm today. You also have cooled seats. And of course, we're playing with cool today because it's in the high 80s. Pretty warm day in late October. But that's what you get in Northwest Louisiana. And as you can see, I can choose, or if I dial this far enough, it'll go to the heated seats. But we're not using those today. That is a fact. And this is the gear selector. You don't have a shifter up here anywhere on the dashboard or on the steering column. It's right here, just a rotary dial basically, and you can go into sport mode if you want to. That way you can then use your shifter paddles. Everything's not that terribly difficult to use. Of course, you can go into your settings and change a lot of different things there. Whether it's climate, you can make simple changes right here, turn things on and off. Of course, you've got your display here. Everything pretty simple and easy to figure out. And of course, depending on what you're used to here, here's the top screen, and I hope you have a good view of that. If you don't like where that screen is placed, or if you can't see it very well, depending on whether it's day or night, you have day mode and you have night mode, or light and dark, I guess would be the better way to put it. And when you change it up here on the top, it changes both the top and bottom screens at the same time. Now we'll go back to the light mode or day mode. And the plus and the minus here, that's very helpful, only for the top screen. But if you're in a situation where you can't see it very well, there's a glare, hold that plus sign down until the screen is where you want it to be, where you can see well with it. Now today I don't have a bad glare or anything like that, so I can just leave that right there. And of course you have different settings here. You've got home settings and just so many things that I'm not going to take the time to go through every single little setting. But of course you've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you've got your cameras right here. Click on that. And of course, nothing new, something you're going to see in all vehicles, at least in the United States. You've got a backup camera, so there are your lines for helping to back up and going to follow the steering wheel, of course. Again, nothing new, but just showing you what's available here in this particular model of vehicle. And so really it's pretty simple and pretty self-explanatory. Not a difficult system to navigate. Of course, you've got your home button, navigation, media, all that good stuff. And can't do much with navigation right now, I guess. So there we go. So basically, whatever you want to do there, you can find what you want. Certain things, if I wanted to go find the closest gas station, I could do that right there. We'll see what it does real quick. And of course, I live in this area, so I know what's close by. I know that the relay station is going to be the closest one. Of course, you do have cup holders here. I've got a lot of stuff sitting there, a little place for your phone. At least that's what I'm using it for. You've got that, but you also have, here's some storage right here if you want to use that, a little bit of space right there, but that's not the main thing. You can also open this up, and you can actually do that with, let's see, let me show you these little buttons right here. This one will open the top, and this one will open both at the same time. So let me just do that where we can show you both at the same time. And down there is the refrigerator. That's right, your console refrigerator. Okay guys, we're gonna get out on the road and see how the Land Rover Range Rover handles. And I know from driving it earlier that it does handle very well. This is just not a high performance vehicle, so you're gonna get a little bit of body roll through the corners. But of course, depending on what your preferences are as the driver, you can make a lot of adjustments. Now, I don't know if you can see the heads-up display. I'd like to be able to give you a good view of that, but it's so hard to do that with the GoPro being on the head mount and being as high up as it is. But you do have a heads-up display here. It is nice and bright, easy to see. You've got the speed limit on there, traffic sign recognition, all that good stuff is there. This is a really enjoyable vehicle to drive. I must say, it's very comfortable for being kind of a short wheelbase SUV. It actually handles extremely well. It's comfortable. Of course, having the air suspension is going to make all the difference in that area. Now, I'm getting a little bit of body roll here going through the corners, but don't let that deter you. Part of that's probably, if not all of it, is just the fact that I haven't driven this vehicle much. This is my first time to get my hands on it. But the overall driving experience is enjoyable. It's comfortable. Everything is easy to get to. I like the fact that you have the armrests and you can adjust the height of the armrests on these seats. So I like the fact that you have that. There's just so many great things here. Nice large windshield, very easy to see out of. You don't have to worry about any kind of blind spots. There's really not a terrible issue with that, but of course that's why you have blind spot monitoring. But obviously before that ever came along, we made it without it, not a big deal. But it's just nice to have those extra security measures. And of course, let me just drop it down to the floor, and I'm gonna tell you what, you can hear no problem right there. As you can see, I went from about 55 to 74 miles per hour in a very quick manner there. But I can tell you from what I did try earlier with the shifter paddles on the steering wheel, they're nice and responsive. Now, I've driven a lot of vehicles in the past where if you wanted to use the shifter paddles, you'd pull on them and you could almost count how long it takes for there to be a response as far as the pulling on the shifter paddle and then having the transmission respond by gearing up or gearing down. Not an issue here, but that's something you would expect with Land Rover. Overall, definitely high marks on this model of vehicle. I'm cruising down roads that I drive every single day, day in and day out, because this is the part of town that I live in. And I can tell you that, you know, the vehicle I normally drive definitely does not ride well at all. Hoping to change that soon with a new daily driver, but I know where every single teeny tiny little bump is, no matter whether it's big or small or whatever the case may be. And I'm not even noticing those things with this vehicle. So very enjoyable to drive, a lot of great features, just nice technology. Of course, if you're going to go off-roading with this, you could do that. It is all-wheel drive. And of course, as I showed you earlier, there are modes that are specific, whether you're on rock or on sand or whatever the case is. And of course, you have the ability to keep a few things nice and cool with the refrigerator in the console right there, that console refrigerator. So a lot of great features here overall. Definitely a nice vehicle to have if you're in the market for something like this. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to check out one of the videos on the screen. I appreciate my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport for loaning me this Range Rover for the day, and all of you for taking the time to watch. I look forward to seeing you in my next video.